Okay, so I get to call this meeting to order of the number 1637 at 6:03 p.m. So I asked my friends in my 1 minute of power what I should do with this time, but we didn't have any suggestions that I can repeat. So, okay, so we're going to start with reorganization of the school committee, and we're going to start with the election of a chair. And I can't be more excited that they will assume the duties immediately upon election. So I am calling for a motion to open nominations for members to serve as chair of the school committee. Mr. Sears?
I move that we I nominate Bonnie Silvers to be our chair.
Any second?
Second.
I have point of order.
Yeah.
If a person is nominated and not seconded, that doesn't affect the nomination.
Okay.
Robert's Rules of Order don't provide for seconding of nominations to the election.
I am just
of
following
boards.
my sheeted directions here,
But
okay?
it's not required. The seconding is not required in the nomination.
Oh. Very helpful. Okay, I'll tell Lynette. All right. Do we have any other nominations?
I have a question.
Yes.
There are 5 new members on
Mhm.
the committee.
Mhm.
I am one of them, but I've been here before. It would be nice to know if, if we have only one nominee, the only way she would not become the chair is if no one voted for her.
Correct.
It's highly unlikely.
Highly.
So I have a question. Is anybody, I'm not soliciting a nomination for myself, because I would decline if I were so nominated. But does anybody else here want to be chair? Well, then I guess we've ended it, right?
I would think so,
Yeah,
but
okay.
but Lynette would probably make me do the roll call vote anyway.
Yes, you do.
You're required to, yeah.
You're required to.
Okay, so here we go. Carl Stewart,
I'm going to abstain.
James DePisa,
Yes.
Kyle Bartlett,
Yes.
Kimberly Kim, right? Kimberly Alcantara. Close.
Abstain.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes,
David.
Abstain.
Okay. The chair is Ms. Silvers. Congratulations, and the gavel to you. I couldn't be more excited. And here's,
I know.
would you like the cheat sheet, which
I
is,
love
might be
the cheat
wrong?
sheet. Thank you all, I think, or I'll accept condolences as well. And I really look forward first. I don't think we've ever had this many new people, so getting to know everybody really, really quickly. But let's go through the basics now, and we are going to adjust the agenda, if I have consent on that, in order to feature this incredible group and their leaders behind us.
I move that we take the student presentation out of order.
We have a second on that. Okay, I will take a vote on that. Dennis,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
and Bonnie, yes. So unanimously, we are turning this over to the Western Massachusetts Championship Soccer Team, ladies soccer team, and also the possessors, along with others, of the Sportsmanship Award for Mount Everest. So it's you guys.
All of you would be lovely, just so I could get one photo.
Let's get some.
Thank you. It'd be great there. Perfect.
Oh, nice job.
Okay. Mr. Carpenter or Mr. King, would you like to speak?
So, obviously, a wonderful group of young ladies you have. The team itself did a great job. They battled all season long. They found a way, they definitely put my heart through the spin cycle the last couple games of the season to get to where we were. They won their first game here against Ware 2-1. We went out to Hopkins on a Saturday. It was like 75 degrees in November, which is weird. They ended up going into overtime in that game. We were tired, we were gassed, we were exhausted. Emily was able to take a rebound off a player and put it in the back of the net. And it was just one of those memories that you remember forever. If you've ever watched the video on YouTube, it's pretty exciting, that ending piece. Fast forward to Wednesday, November 2nd, playing soccer way too late, I think, for anybody. Out at Agawam, these girls, battled all game long. We actually gave up the first goal in the first minute and, put us on our heels a little bit, but I think they found a way, as they always have, to strike through. They came right back in the second half, tied it in the first 30 seconds. Decided we should go into overtime again, to test me and see if I wanted to go to the hospital or not. And found a way to put that winning goal. I was able to knock it off of another person off a deflection on a corner. And, here we are standing with a, Western Mass Championship trophy. So I'm super proud of them. In relation to the sportsmanship award, that is an award given to the entire athletic community. So it's the entire student population from last year, from all the sports that we have. We were recognized among our district, which is 90 schools in District 1. So there's 9 districts throughout Massachusetts. And that award there was bestowed upon us as a school community for everything that, from our cross country to our tennis to our baseball, softball, all the sports that we have here at Mount Everett. That's an award that they all share. So they all did a great job as being great sportsmen, doing things on and off the field. We knock somebody over in soccer. Our girls always are helping that person up. Very rarely do we do things that, are deemed unsportsmanlike. So that's a whole school community award, and I'm super proud of, obviously, the girls that are here and all the athletes that play under, the Eagles name. So thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Yes. How many members of the team will be back next year?
So we have 20 on our roster. We have 4 that are graduating, so 16 potential returners, and hopefully we can, because this is all we have at the moment. So hopefully we're trying to always recruit new people. And I told those guys at the beginning of the year, this year, bring a friend. I'm not that scary of a person, but so we're at 20 right now. So 16 will be returning if they all choose to come back. And then, any new kids that come up.
So 16 out of 20 is 80%. So we have an 80% chance of repeating, right?
No problem. Do we have additional questions from anyone? I would like it if one of you would be brave enough to give us a couple of minutes on what the experience has been like for you, being on not only on this winning team, but the whole experience of living on buses, trying to get your work done, school and everything else. So you're deciding.
I'll do it. Being on their team has been a privilege.
What's your name?
I'm Miguel.
Nice to meet you.
I was fortunate enough to be captain this year, and I think a couple last game of the regular season, we decided that we wanted to win the whole thing. We kind of put it in our heads that we do have a chance, and we need to stop playing as we're a little school from Mount Everett, and that we can be just as big as the schools from way out and about. And we made that decision to change, and it paid off. Our hard work, and we came together. I think what put us apart from all the other teams is that we played and acted like a family, and also that Mr. King and Coach Amanda, they both have taught us that it's sometimes better just to be a better person than necessarily be a great athlete. And when you act as a great person and a great teammate and show great sportsmanship and you guys feel like family, it all comes together. And sometimes you win a championship. So
I'm glad we have that recorded because I think that should be an article in the
I'm on
next
it.
Eagle.
I'm on it.
Yes. That's just perfect. And I just commenting on what you said, having spoken to a long time ago graduate who spoke about how when she was on the team and how it was the same type of attitude that we do what other people don't expect us to do because of the Mount Everett spirit. So I'm glad you're, as coaches, making sure that we continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. You can stay, but you can also run for your life. I'm not judging. I'm gonna turn this way.
They get to take it left over.
And you also so
They get to take it left over.
well.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Take care.
I'm taking a break and back. And
Yeah.
along with Carl, and this is the second tenor.
So hopefully you will indulge me in my lack of order in doing it, but I know the next thing is we need a vice chair. And it would be nice to have, if we don't have a nomination, if we have some people who are considering the possibility and just want to, before they volunteer, to ask any questions they may have about what it entails. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, I nominate Art Pataki for the vice chair.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay,
Can we have a conversation? Is anybody else interested?
if you could speak up, Nancy, they can't hear you.
I have questions.
Yes,
So
sir.
what exactly does the job entail?
It entails, if I don't show up, or I know I'm not going to show up, making sure the vice chair is aware of the agenda, is involved in the decision-making related to the agenda. It also is an idea of having somebody who's really up to date on all of the procedures. I was lucky when I was vice chair a number of years ago. Carl was chair and he didn't miss meetings. But you should be, prepared to take on that type of responsibility.
And, but I'm definitely interested in doing that. The reason I didn't volunteer for the full chair roles because, well, I don't feel like I want to be driving the car before I know how it works.
Mhm.
And all this stuff's new to me, but I think being the vice chair would be a good way to learn. So can I nominate myself?
Yes,
Okay, so yeah, I nominate myself.
I'll second that. Can I second?
sure. So Carl, you say we don't need a second.
No, we don't need a second, but it's no harm, no foul on second. They just
Okay, do we have
shows one more
any,
person who likes you.
do we have any other people? Okay, no. No.
I have a question. It's
Yes,
gonna
sir.
sound frivolous or stupid. David, is your surname pronounced Terrio?
Well, it's a hyphenated surname, and it's Rogers Terriot.
Terriot, you pronounce the T.
That's the way I was taught to pronounce it, yeah.
Okay, Rogers Terriot. Okay.
All right. So no others. With that, the nominations are closed and we will take a vote. The two names are Art Pataki and Mr. Rogers Terriot.
Terriot.
Okay. Art. I'm starting on this side this time.
I'll vote for myself.
Okay. Sarah.
Just because I really like Art and I know him, but I like to see new blood, so I'm going to vote for David.
Nancy. Coming around. Yes,
For David, just because I feel that it'd be a balance from old and new.
okay. Kyle.
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay. Bert. Okay,
Myself,
okay, Dennis.
Art,
Okay. All right, and I don't need to, but in the fairness, I will vote for Art. Okay, so Art, you are our vice chair.
Thank you.
I hope we will have people standing up and taking from our other towns. This is a, Art and I are both Sheffield, so I'm sure you'll all be involved. All right, so we have a chair, we have a vice chair, secretary of the school committee. This is just basically an appointment. This is procedural. Dr. Rigabudo will be the secretary. Our treasurer, this is somebody new.
Nope, same one that we've had for the last.
Yeah, okay, so Thomas Ariel, it's an independent person who signs off on checks, etc. So it's independent of us.
So I have a question. I'm
Yes,
sorry
go.
for interrupting. This person is someone who has served as treasurer before
Yes.
Mhm.
for a period of how long?
Flavor
30
plus, I would say year and a half.
Okay, and not a member of, it doesn't have to be a member of the school committee.
Correct.
Not total. All right, law firm is Murphy Lemire Murphy. This is a law firm we've used for a number of years, negotiated, represents us with contracts, represents us when there have been issues before the district, and they have been very responsive to us over the years. Just procedurally, so that you know, nobody is supposed to call the law firm except for me. However, if there is an issue, if you contact me and it's something where you say, this is something I think needs to go to our law firm, and if you are the person who's best suited to make that phone call, it will, it will be done that way. The reason is we can't have everybody racking up thousands of dollars in costs. And also, there's supposed to be one chain through the superintendent and the chair to the law firm. So it's both a financial issue and that the law firm doesn't get a whole bunch of different perspectives. So,
Bonnie,
yes,
I'm going to shut up for the meetings remaining for the year.
I doubt.
After this, yeah, you're
Yeah.
probably correct.
Right.
But this is an important point that you made. about why an individual member, other than you, who represents the school committee as its chair, should not call the law firm. Michelle, who is the lead lawyer, and I think the senior partner of that firm, has no way of knowing if Carl Stewart calls her, if James DePisa calls her, that person in fact represents the
Good
position
point.
of the school committee. The person who represents the position of the school committee is Bonnie. And Michelle, our lawyer, knows that. But if I call her, even though I know her well, because I've worked with her for a number of years, she doesn't know that, and she shouldn't be expected to know, and she shouldn't be expected to rely on your representation if you've talked to other people in the school committee and they authorized you to go ahead. So to make things simple, so that we don't have any conflict issues, Bonnie, for the reasons stated, and that sort of sub-reason is the reason that Bonnie communicates with the lawyers.
Thank you, Carl. The clerk to our school committee, most of you have met Lynette. Lynette is the executive assistant to the superintendent. I assume, because you're all seated here, everyone has turned in their affidavit that they've been sworn in their community. Yes?
I did it, but I don't know. if
She
I
got
wasn't-
word, she
This
would
one-
have, she would know.
Right. she
Okay,
had to
okay.
see- Yes, okay.
I wasn't given anything, but,
Oh, you weren't given anything?
She'll get it from them.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
eventually,
okay,
mine's actually in my car because I knew Lynette wasn't here.
David just
Alright.
brought me his, so they're coming.
Okay, oh, I couldn't. And then the doctor for our district, Lisa Sylvia, has been our doctor for a period of time. And we turned to her during COVID, we turned to her when we had to deal with the issue of conditions in the Egremont school. So she's been responsive to us, and that I don't think we've had any reason to make any change there. Okay. We now turn to the minutes. So this
They have to
is-
vote, though. They have to-
Yeah.
you
Oh,
have to
right,
vote.
sorry. I will accept a motion to approve the appointments just made. Anyone will make that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, so this is to approve the appointments that were just listed. Art,
Yes.
Sarah,
abstain.
Carl,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Kim,
Abstain.
Kyle,
Yes.
Jim, yes,
Abstain.
Dennis,
Yes.
and Bonnie, yes. So we had 3 abstentions and the approval. All right. This is typical of what we will do. Lynette will get us, the objective is to get the minutes to us 48 hours in advance. Please review them, because at this point, we have an outside company that reviews the minutes, that takes the minutes and puts that. It's not uncommon that there's something that is a small error, but there could be something where you are misinterpreted or a knot is there missing, etc. So please do your best to read the minutes prior to the meeting. And what we do is have the minutes, there's a motion to approve the minutes. And should there be any corrections, I will be more than happy to entertain any of those. So a motion to approve the minutes of meeting 1636 of October 27th. Nancy? That was you. Oh, that was a second. I need a motion first.
Oh, motion. So
Second.
Okay. All right. Do we have any corrections in that?
yes.
Nancy?
I got a few, they're all editorial things. Going to number 9. Minor editorial. The committee thanks Chairman for her contributions to the committee, not there.
Yeah, it was throughout that. I don't know.
Yeah,
because-
we don't need to, yeah. So it's gonna be the same thing for, first paragraph, is number 10, superintendent's report, she instead of they. Going to, paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. Chapters, paragraph 7, I didn't understand that paragraph.
What page you want? please?
Still number 10, this
Okay,
is superintendent's report.
yes,
The joint virtual learning excursion session with Berkshire Hills on October 20th, 22 discussed how to build culture and increase engagement. Another is, never mind, scheduled for the week of October 23rd. I think I misread that. Next one down. At the Division 6 meeting, attendees discussed whether they invited Commissioner Riley to their districts. That's not the case. What we did is we discussed inviting Commissioner Riley to the different districts. And
they also did ask whether you had, because Beth had done it and that was
Right.
not brought up.
Okay.
So it was
Zach can
asked
say
if
it
they
is
did.
that. Discussion, do we want to explain what the Hanover report is, or just brief sentence on that?
I'd like to know.
Well, we would be getting that, but that was not
Okay, that's right,
during
that
the
wasn't
meeting.
discussed, right,
Right, it was just a report.
all right, and probably that, hold that question there, David, because probably.
Well,
Then, I think that was it, the rest are just minor, New Marlboro Select Board, this is number 13. Cindy Marcel, second paragraph, went to the select board meeting, not select.
right, that was one of the ones I had.
There's some other questions like what the grant is being used for, just a brief, I know that got discussed, it wasn't just set as a grant, I don't know if that's something that should go into the report or not. Virtual convening, that was pretty obvious, I think that was it. That's a pretty minor editorial stuff.
All right, and I had other people before I do mine, anyone else in terms of minutes? On page 5, number 13. This was also early college. The early college presentation to the select board, it was the Sheffield Select Board. November 1st. Okay. And then on page 4, that this is in your report, a National Superintendent's Association meeting. Was this the rural one?
The rural,
That's what I thought you had said.
yeah, the rural coalition of that group, of that organization.
Okay, so how should it read?
I'll tell you, because it's the rural education cohort. So it's a National Superintendent's Association meeting of the rural schools cohort, I believe, rural educational cohort. That's what they call it. There's a lot of names in these things.
All right, so that should be inserted. All right. And then page 3. Oh, it's the very last under business with district member towns, update our regional school district planning board. the last item says that the transitional committee would be made up of select board members. That's not what was said. It would, the select board would select the members of the transitional committee. They are not the transitional committee.
So it would be made of
Individuals selected
by
by the select board or appointed, because it would not be an election. Okay. All right. And the second on the chairman's report, just this is a minor thing. It was reiterated, not iterated. She brought it up again, the importance of bringing in new quality committee members. So those are the changes. If no one has any additional ones, I would,
Bonnie,
yeah.
I think for under number 13, I was at the Sheffield Select Board meeting on October 17th, and then the Egremont Select Board meeting on November 1st.
so it's Egremont.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I knew it was a specific one. Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. All right, this is, the motion on the floor is to approve the minutes as amended. Yes. David?
How do I ask a question? How do I ask to ask a question? I don't know this whole rules of order thing yet. So I have questions about the contents, but not necessarily about not about the approval, because
Okay, related to the content of individual things, that is separate from approval of the minutes.
right.
So you will have plenty of time to be asking a zillion questions.
Be careful what you wish for.
Well, I didn't wish for it, I'm just saying what your rights are.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point, we're voting on the approval of the minutes as amended. Dennis,
I,
David,
Abstain.
okay. Jim? Okay, Kyle,
Abstain.
Kim,
Abstain.
okay, Nancy?
Aye.
Right,
I abstain, but if this is not the appropriate time, then after approval, assuming it's approved, I have a question about, or comment actually about item B, approval of executive session minutes.
okay.
Can I do that
So
now?
No, let's,
Okay,
that's separate
right,
from.
okay.
Okay,
So I abstain on, since I wasn't
Okay.
here.
Sarah,
Abstain.
okay, Art,
Aye.
and Bonnie, aye. Well, that's 5-5. On approval of the minutes.
Bonnie,
Yes, sir.
it's not 5-5. Abstentions are not another negative.
Oh, right, exactly.
Only the people
So
voting.
it's only the 4. Thank you once again. Okay, so the minutes have been approved as amended. All right. Given the fact that there are a number of questions, let's see if we can address, even though it's not, see if we could address some of them. David, you were first.
Oh, wonderful. So first off, what is the Hanover report and how do I get a copy of it?
All right, there are a number of Hanover reports, and they have been released through, we've received them, and you can get them on our website. And you could also go to 8towns.
This is not that one. Excuse me.
This one is not?
This is not that one. This one isn't part of, that's in my report, I believe, right?
Right,
That-
and
So
others,
then
but-
when I spoke about it, I spoke about the specific research done.
Oh,
on
yes,
National.
exactly.
So
This
I
one's
can,
different.
I can forward it to you because it was part of a different committee. So I forwarded to the last committee.
Right.
But they
Sorry about
also
that.
used Hanover, as did the 8 towns for certain.
Okay, so you'll.
I can do
email
that.
this to me, Beth?
I can.
Right.
I was gonna say
So that would be
should
for
go out again.
everyone.
That should go out to all of us.
For everyone.
Correct.
Okay, so regarding the executive session minutes,
Yes,
how do I? Some of that looks like it was released and some of it clearly hasn't. How do I get access to that information? How do I see what's
You
there
d-
so I
you
know what's
don't.
going on?
you don't. If it is what we have, it's a combination of things. Sessions that were in executive session.
Mhm.
The minutes that are done there have to be reviewed periodically to determine whether they can be released.
Right,
If they are sensitive issues that are still open,
Mm.
such as contractual issues,
Mm.
items related to ongoing litigation.
Mm.
There is subcommittee, which is the Executive Session Minutes Review Committee.
Mm.
That committee meets periodically and reviews all of the executive session minutes. And they have a set of legal guidelines that they have to follow in order to determine whether the minutes can be released. If there are the items that are listed as not being released, that means they are still closed. The ones that are released, that were approved by the executive session minutes review committee, will now go into the pool of minutes that you can read.
right. Okay, well, I guess I'll
Okay.
come back to that one because again, it's not a voting issue at the moment, but I can't vote on something without knowing what was going on at all ends of it, so but
Right.
that's not relevant at this point. So the stage practice assessments. All right, I think that's, I guess, it from me for now.
Okay. Carl,
Okay, I'm just following up on what David said. Massachusetts general law requires a timely review of executive session minutes, and I would say by definition, reviewing executive session minutes that are 2 years old is not timely. And there is minutes of 1589, for example, which is September 10th, 2020, August 27th, 2020, October 1, 2020. A review on October 23rd of 2022 is not a timely review, and it's a violation of both. I have the floor, Dennis, and if Bonnie wants to recognize you after I finish, that's fine. That's not timely. And I would urge the executive session subcommittee to do a more current review going forward. Secondly, there is a motion by Mr. Blaugren, which was approved unanimously, not to release executive session minutes, and they're set forth in paragraph 1, 2, 3
Right.
of this sub B. You can't do that. I mean, yes, you can agree not to release them, but you must state a reason why you're not releasing them. You can't allow the public to guess why you're not releasing them. You can say simply deals with ongoing litigation.
may I just interrupt one
Yeah,
second?
yeah, yeah, go
There
ahead.
was a chart, and the chart probably should have been included in the minutes.
Okay.
The chart enumerates
Oh, then
every
I have,
item
that's fine.
and why it was
Then I
either
withdraw my
released.
objection. I didn't know that. But if that's true, if the reason is stated, so that the public
Yes.
can know the reason, yeah.
Exactly. So probably, I would hope
Yeah,
that
I'm
we
gonna add the
can,
chart to the.
that we amend, do a further
Okay.
amendment so that that chart.
Okay, that's it then. So if there was a chart with a reason stated that complies
Exactly,
with the
exactly.
law.
Exactly. Dennis, you wanted,
The only comment I was gonna make to Carl is that, Carl, as you may recall, when you and I were both on this committee at the same time, which I believe we were in the past,
On which committee? This committee?
on the committee that reviews the minutes, I believe you were on it
You
with
have a
me.
better
at one
memory than
point
I
in
do.
time. That basically, there is no standard in the state law that basically says you have to do these within X years or X
That's
days.
accurate. Yeah, that's correct.
So you're making a little noise about nothing, Carl.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't,
okay.
I try not to make noise about nothing, but
Nancy?
People have, we ask people to put their hands up to ask for given, granted a moment to speak, rather than arguing back and forth. And we also ask people to chill down in our first meeting, so we get to actually study. So yes, I know there are going to be some.
Nancy, can you speak up a little, because then nobody's hearing that.
Yeah, just try to stay on topic. That's all.
Mhm,
That's all. And also ask for permission to add.
mhm. Yeah, well, Carl did, yeah, it did, all right.
That's okay.
So we have approved minutes and we are adding the chart from the executive session minutes review to that, okay? With that, Beth, we'll turn it over to you for enrollment statistics.
Did you approve these minutes? Oh, yes, everything's
We
done.
did,
Okay.
You need
yes.
to repeat the chart.
No, it's as amended, right? Okay, so in your packet, 3B is enrollment, and as we had been talking about and expecting, enrollment has jumped up back towards where we've been, and we're at 622 as of the November 1st.
You have any
It's on
questions?
3B.
It looks like this. Okay.
Yeah, it's on the back side.
Everybody has it, it's a 3B. It should look like this. We're double siding to save paper.
I want to be recognized by the chair. Can I be
I know you
recognized?
do.
I'm just
I don't have to be.
waiting
No, I said I know you do.
to make sure everybody has.
Did we find it?
Okay. Any questions on the enrollment chart? Carl?
Madam Superintendent, do we have numbers for school choice in and out yet for this time
No.
of year? We do not,
You will not have it till, it's usually more like January.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, so sometime shortly after the beginning of the coming year, we will
It's
have
it's
those
usually around
numbers.
when we're putting the budget together, that
Oh, okay.
flushes out a little bit better.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions on enrollment? David?
These enrollment numbers are only for the current school year. Do we have enrollment numbers for last year as a comparison base?
She probably didn't put it in. She usually has a chart that has we have tons of charts that would compare to last year. And there's plenty of data that we could give to you. Look at that.
Can we get that emailed out to at least myself, but I think the whole school committee might like to see that.
How far back are you talking?
I mean, we've
there's
always-
lots of
we've
reports.
Last year,
But I
year over year.
think, for the new people, we always get it. But I
It's
think
probably in the
particularly
10-1
for-
packet.
Right,
so.
for the new people, that we will get that.
Well, I was gonna say that I believe, also, if you look back in the last month's packet, or, for when we did release the 10-1, the large chart for the year with where students are, because our 10-1 enrollment is critically important to our financial, budget development for the year, so that being it, but I'll have her do a separate email and send it out to make it easier, but it's all on the website.
Kim?
It's on the website, on Southern Berkshire's website.
It'll be there under school committee on the date closest to,
Including both
choiced in and.
Choice in and out isn't part of this report.
I would like to see a total enrollment from like.
You can't, it doesn't work like that. Like, it's not available until certain points in the year, so.
Like, no, what I'm saying is I'd like to see the previous few years with the total enrollment.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
From like maybe 2018 to this point to see better tracking what direction we're going. As a district, prior to COVID and after COVID.
One thing that we have, and I'll let you answer,
Okay, sure.
that we have to be aware of, there are real aberrations because of COVID. And we had, it's not gonna be reflective, but we had chunks of kids who were homeschooled for a whole period of time. So you may wind up having lots of questions as you look at it, because something will look like it really doesn't jive. But yeah, we have it, so you will get it.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, Carl.
To relieve a burden on the school administration of producing, of emailing to you individually or to everybody, these records, they are historical records of school enrollment of every school district in the Commonwealth are a matter of public record, and you can find them. I'm not sure if it's on the DESI website, but they exist and they're findable very easily.
But didn't she just say that does not include people that choice in?
It depends which report you're looking at.
It's
If
just
you're
simply-
looking at the October, like, they do different reports on different places, so, there's one, I don't have it in front of me right now, so I don't want to speak, but I know there's one that does specifically more around the 10-1 date, because that's such a critical date for school districts. That shows, where people are going, and, so there's a little more data with that one and some prior history. So I just have to look through the various different types of reports and figure out what the best one to answer your question
I don't
is.
mind looking at the info myself. I just need a website to.
Well, I just want to make sure you're getting the right information, because sometimes you have to synthesize it from that, and we all want to make sure we're looking at the same dates. Those are
Right.
things that I've heard all sorts of reports, and every time I hear a different number, depending on where I'm going, and I'm saying, well, that's not the number I have. So I just want to make sure I'm giving everybody the consistent number, the way we report it. I can explain it that way, and then we can then speak as a body as when somebody reports something different.
Carl.
Just one more thing. Kim, you can find out, Google will tell you what cat food I buy. They will certainly tell you school enrollment. Although I think the cat food I buy is maybe more important, at least to my cat than school.
They will, but there are different lenses, that's all. So I just want to help, I want to be clear to what she's specifically looking for a school choice function, and that is, the timing of that may not be out now for what she's looking for. So let's just, I'll do a little paperwork help there. Thank you. We have the reports, just which one makes the most sense.
David.
If this is all public record, that's fine. We can certainly look it up, but if I've understood you correctly, Beth, or Ms. Repobuto, the data is not tabulated necessarily in the same way for different reports. So I think for everyone, it would make the most sense to have a report to be looking at the same, we're looking at the same
Right.
report with a year-over-year comparison.
Right.
So we have some frame of reference beyond, the last 2 months.
Well, so this report that's typically in the school committee report, right, is just showing the number, just month to month, which moves, and it starts with the beginning of the school year, which is technically August 1. So that's normally what's included in the school committee report. There are other reports that show where people went, but they're not done at different periods during the year. We don't do this ever, it's a lot of work in between to do all that. So we at least present the numbers so we can see where people are moving, to have a general sense for the school committee, where they're going. And then at certain points during the year, we do more detail.
Just
So I can show that to you so you can see.
Just to let you know, as you go along, you're going to have this all filled in. Number one. Number two, there are different points that we as a school committee have asked for different types of reports. The administration has accommodated us depending on the purpose for which we're asking the information. So it may be that all of a sudden, like at one point, we asked for a report that showed the previous year's, let's say, third graders. And what's the number this year of fourth graders? So we wanted to be able to look at, though it's not a totally clear picture, it was a retention. Did our third graders go into fourth? So you're going to find a report that's completely isolated because it responded to a specific request of the school committee. And again, we try to be sensitive to the amount of time all of this takes. So depending on what we need, we definitely are able to get all of that information. What I just have to note is I sort of feel like it's a positive overall consistency in our numbers. And it's obviously completely different from what the regional planning board is reporting as our population.
Well, one of the factors, I think recently, the most recent report was that pre-K was left off. They were only reporting K. We have a very large pre-K group. So it makes a big difference if you're saying, 550 versus 622, because 67 kids are in the pre-K. So it does make it a big difference.
So you will definitely be able to get all of those reports.
Right.
All right, moving along, miscellaneous correspondence. All right, we're moving. Student representative, we did student spotlight, we
I
did.
don't know if the representative is on.
Do we?
Is Emma? Oh my goodness, I didn't know she was on there.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Thank you for your patience.
I wanted to talk about the NHS. They hosted a veterans lunch. I personally didn't go, but I heard that it was a huge success. So props to them for making that happen. And yeah.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, sorry. I'm Emma Wilson. I am the student rep for 11th grade.
Thank you. Yeah, everything I read about and saw with the National Honor Societies, I think this is the first time they've done this at the American Legion. It was all professionally done and wonderful group of veterans, and our students were great. So
Yeah.
to those people who organized it. Do you have anything else to report to us?
No, just that I don't know, each class has been doing very well with fundraising and stuff. So yeah.
Do you happen to know if there's been, I don't know if maybe I should ask maybe Mr. Carpenter this. I know that there's been students now having to pay for some aspect of sports participation.
Yeah, we instituted it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and has that impacted participation?
No.
We have more people participating this fall than we did last fall.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Anyone have any other questions for Emma? Oh, thank you, and I'm sorry you had to hang on there.
It's all good. Thank you so much.
You're
Thanks, Emma.
welcome. Public comment. Do we have any comments from the public? I see Jane Burke's hand raised. Jane, I'll recognize you.
I would like to thank the people who are new at the table and those who are stayed behind, those of us who have left, support your efforts and want you all to know that we're here and we want to be a support to what you're doing, and don't hesitate to call on us. I wanted to tell Carl that we have been reviewing those minutes every year. Some of those seem like they haven't been reviewed since 2020, but they were reviewed in 20, 21, and 22, and we have continuing litigation that we're dealing with. So we heard you when you brought up a timely review of minutes when I first came on the committee, and it has been followed through on. And finally, I hope that we continue with our presence on the Regional School Planning Board. New members have a lot to catch up on in terms of understanding the intricacies of it, and it's a very important endeavor that we should continue to pay attention to. And so thank you for whatever you're about to do. And those of us in the community will hopefully be doing more to support you in that. And have fun on the school committee. Thanks.
Jane, thank you. And you know, you have our thanks again and again. Do we have other public comment? Let's see, any other hands? Okay. The business managers report. Chris is there.
I am here, yes. So I have a couple of items for you guys tonight. The first one is in your meeting package. It's the warrant report, just showing the warrants that we've paid over the past month or two. I can go down one at a time and just kind of briefly explain them. The manual warrants, the first one was all for Berkshire County retirement. The second one was for payroll taxes. Then we get to the vendor warrants. These are typically a big mixture of about 75 or 80 pages of just various bills that we pay throughout the quarter. The first one, voucher number 1002. To be honest, I looked through this whole warrant. They were just all small expenses, just a whole lot of them. Really nothing large, nothing over a few $1,000s in there. 1003 was professional development contracted services. We had one bill for $1,800. 1004 was a big warrant that we had. Mainly transportation, which was almost $300,000 alone. MTRS was another just about $70,000. And we had $25,000 of tech supplies. So that was the biggest by far that we've had on this report. The next three items are just payrolls, bi-weekly payrolls that we pay. And the P card warrant is basically, those are typically made up. We have a district credit card, and those are made up of items that we either need very quickly, and you know, someone goes to, say, a hardware store to buy materials that we may need or something. Or sometimes we have a vendor who won't take.
You're fading out.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
There you go.
You can't move your head at all. There it is.
Okay, sorry, my cat just, my
Just
daughter's
yeah.
cat just jumped on the table and I turned to look at it for a minute. So, all right, I'll look straight ahead.
Okay.
So the P card warrant, again, small expenses used with the district credit card. And that's basically all I have for the warrants. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
In that case, I will take a motion.
So move to approve the warrants.
Do we have a second on the approval of the warrants?
Second.
Okay. Let's go vote there on approval of warrants. Art,
Yes.
Sarah? Yes. What?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Kim?
Yes.
All right, Kyle?
Yes.
All right, Jim?
Yes.
David?
Abstain.
Dennis?
Yes.
And Bonnie, yes. Okay, so the warrants were approved.
Okay, the other item I have for you is, I brought it up maybe a couple meetings ago about that we were getting an appraisal done on the building that you guys are in tonight. And we did get that appraisal done. And it was no surprise really that it came in substantially more than what the insurance coverage was for. The insurance coverage that we have for the district is $32,000. Just the buildings on the campus, the Sheffield campus alone, were appraised at $72 million. So quite a big difference. And what that is basically an exposure insurance wise. If we had a catastrophic event in that building, obviously we would be capped off at $32 million, and it would cost roughly 40 million more than that, to build the building again. I did meet today, this afternoon, with our insurance agent, went over the appraisal with him, and also some options that we have in terms of increasing the insurance if you'd like to do that. The problem with increasing it, of course, is cost. Right now, we're paying $42,000 a year to insure the buildings that we have. And it's basically the Sheffield campus because the other buildings are owned by the towns and insured by the towns. So we're paying $42,000 for 32 million in coverage. To up that to the full amount, the premiums would increase to $94,500. So that's a substantial increase over what we're currently paying. Our insurance agent did suggest another alternative, and that is that we would insure 80% of the value and basically co-insure ourselves the other 20% of the value. So that would give us about $57 million in coverage. And as he put it, I mean, if you picture the building that you're in, it's a pretty large footprint of a building. I mean, it really spreads out. And his thought was that, it would really take something to say, damage the entire building to the point of would have to be rebuilt. So he said that's an option as well. That would cost us about $75,000 a year to insure. So either way, none of this is good news. But on the other hand, I certainly wouldn't want to see a catastrophic event and then us having to turn around and see that we were about $40 million short in our insurance coverage. So I wanted to make sure that you had that information available. Because I got it just, this afternoon, mid-afternoon, I haven't had the opportunity to put it in a report for you, but I can certainly do that if you'd like. And you can digest the information and, maybe at the next meeting, we can see, if you want to make any changes to our current policy.
Before I call on, I have a couple of questions for you, Chris. One, have you shopped the insurance elsewhere?
Well, right now, I have not, no. Right now, we have a policy in effect from July of this year through June 30th of next year. Our insurance agent actually shops it around every year. We can certainly do that, but these are just, base prices, basically. I suppose we could cancel the policy and look elsewhere. I don't, I've never done that personally, but I suppose we could if we wanted to. What I was told today is that coverage for public school buildings is pretty limited in the vendors that we actually have to do that. That there are only a couple of carriers that will do that, but I can certainly reach out again. It was a brief meeting. I had 3 meetings this afternoon back to back, so it kind of had to be, very quick, and then I jumped right into the next meeting. But I can reach out to him again and see if we can certainly, check around with other carriers and see what we can do.
Well, and you're coordinating everything, because Beth is our business guru and all of it. I just am concerned of us leaving ourselves exposed. I mean, fortunately, that major work we did in terms of a roof, we're talking over 1 acre of rooftop. And I remember walking the roof with one of the contractors who said, you're just lucky that you didn't have any type of a major hurricane because of, you know, the way that we were built at that, it was state of the art at the time. And I'm so happy we have done what we need to do to upgrade, but I don't like the idea of leaving ourselves exposed, but I don't know what the standard is in the industry, and there I would hope you would be able to advise the school committee, especially since we don't have to make a decision tonight. So questions from others? Carl, I think you had a
Yeah,
question.
well, I just hope the record reflects that the initial discrepancy between 32,772 million was corrected to 32,072,000.
Yes, he did.
Okay. And next, that premium of, what did we say it was, $44,000?
We pay 42 currently.
Okay, $42,000. That is solely insurance to cover damage to the building, loss of use of the building. It has nothing to do with liability insurance, correct?
That's correct.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, do we have other questions? All right, my initial reaction is that we should have this on our next agenda, and then in the interim, we should get additional information that hopefully you can provide to us, you know, sufficient time prior to our next meeting.
Sure.
I don't know if anyone else has any comment on my suggestion there.
Additional information would be good, that way we can make an informed decision.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, that's all I have.
I don't think we should wait a terribly long time. I think we should do this, and I mean, I'm just thinking about the facilities that I insured. I had 7 school buildings in the last district, and we were paying $100 and something thousand of insurance. I think we're well in the ballpark with 70, you know, with the size of this place to be in that range. And I mean, it's not an appealing number, and but I feel like we should make sure we're covered.
yes.
I'm not big on, I'm not that kind of risk averse. I'd rather be on the conservative side, so.
So if we have information in sufficient time so that we can
I
discuss
think
it.
we just want to make sure also that the funding, you know, how we propose to fund that,
Yeah, we can afford it.
Right,
but we'll afford it because
we have to,
that's right.
okay. Thank you very much, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
Remember, if you want to be moved up in the agenda,
This is a.
you know, at any point, please let us know.
Okay, no, this is great where I am now. That's fine. Thank you.
All righty, moving along, business with district member towns.
You're looking at me or what?
Well, let me, I'll start with a few things. One, until Carl got sworn in for Alford, I was the only school committee member who was returning representing Sheffield. And now we have Carl for Alford. We need to have Egremont, Monterey, and New Marlboro. So if you are interested in being the individual who will serve on the regional school district planning board from your town, you need to let your select board know. And then the moderator for your town is the one who officially will make the appointment. We don't want to have those seats vacant. So you're nodding, Kim, will you do it for Monterey?
Oh, absolutely. I don't want that seat vacant.
Great, great, thank you so much. Egremont, what? You'll do it, Jim? Okay, so you'll talk to the select board, yes, et cetera, so that, and that would mean New Marlboro. What are you guys gonna do?
I think we need to figure out, we both need to talk and see. how
Okay,
to
great.
Because the time sequences, so we should.
Yeah.
both of us, so, especially if we can- yeah, we'll come up with something.
Wonderful.
Present it to the board and see if it.
Yeah. Because we don't want to have a vacant Dennis.
Madam Chair, I think Carl may know this already because he's such a good lawyer. But for what it's worth, legally, the school committee member for each town does not have to be a resident of that town,
Correct.
just so you know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
if somebody, for example, if you're New Marlboro, but if you would not want to be the person from New Marlboro, but there's an opening in one of the other towns, for example, you could be a candidate for that. But again, as the chair said, you have to be appointed by that town's moderator.
Yeah, yeah, we'll give us we'll come back to you. Thank you for sharing that. We'll come back to you guys in
Right.
was a couple weeks.
so sooner, I mean, you don't.
Yeah, no, I
truthfully-
understand, Bonnie. I understand, Bonnie.
Okay, good.
It's totally understood. It's totally
Good.
understood. Yeah, no, totally understood.
Great, and I'm so happy that, you guys are gonna step up and do that. It's really critical. And if you have questions, et cetera, I'd be more than happy to give you my perspective.
I've actually sat through many of those meetings.
I know, I've seen you. So, okay.
I would just, if I may interrupt, I did receive a request from the assistant to the chair of the Regional School District Planning Board, who said the sooner the better for those who are interested in, because there's 3 meetings coming up and they would like to have as many people present for those. So I'm just relaying the information, no pressure from me.
Mhm. And Berkshire Hills is also faced with 3 vacancies that they have to fill. It is a time commitment, but as those of you who sat through it, this is really the future for our children and our communities. This has got an enormous economic impact in our communities. And though I think I'm nuts, I just really believe that you could say certified, that this is such a critical ongoing discussion. We did have yesterday as a result of the letter that Southern Berkshire sent, there was a facilitated discussion for all of the members of the Regional Planning Board. And I will say this, total candor, at the end, I said, I left it feeling more depressed, more, you're nodding, Kim.
I've sat through these meetings. I know how they have gone.
So they held the meeting, there was a facilitator. He did speak with both Jane and myself and a couple of others prior to taking this on. I don't know if he expected what he got yesterday, but it was, for me, it was a major downer. I'm speaking as Bonnie Silver's one individual. It was a major downer. And we'll just move ahead. We're still waiting to see what the latest transportation report says. I haven't seen that. Have you received that back?
No, I received a draft of ours today, but I've had 3 seconds, so I haven't
Yeah,
really had a
yeah.
chance to look at it, and I certainly don't want to comment on something I haven't read thoroughly, so. But I'm sure I'll see that prior to.
And I do have to say, despite what's been said, our staff, our teachers, our administration, our students have been available and have spoken and have taken part in a number of different events. So the engagement is there. But I am thrilled that we will have a full complement of school committee representatives on the regional planning board. And I would just like to leave it with that. And if you have any questions or question any of the access, please, I'm going to give you one other thing that I suggest. If you go on 8towns.org, whether you're on the committee or not, read what is the tentative regional agreement. It's very, very important. We live by that regional agreement. When we changed our committee was involved with that. When we changed our assessments for our 5 towns, that was a 2-year process to get something that people would agree to. The regional agreement is critical for all of us. And we are responsible to our select boards. I got a call from a select board member last night questioning information that the person had received. We have a lot of responsibility in terms of all of this because it then will be going to the voters, and the planning board is still planning on trying to have the vote take place as part of the May warrants in each of the towns. So it's a big responsibility. And please read that regional report. Okay. You have anything else on the regional?
It's
Okay.
scattered throughout my report.
Okay, so the chairman's report. Mine is going to be, since I wasn't chairman, a very quick one. And I'm thinking this came as a result of speaking to, in Sheffield, our town clerk. And I don't know if you heard this in your towns, but because we didn't have competitive races, people don't know us. And the comment that she received from a lot of people is that, why did we know the people who were running for school committee? So here's my suggestion is step 1. We all come from very different backgrounds and are here for different reasons. I thought that we could start with each putting together a paragraph about who we are, you know, to give people a perspective. And Beth and I discussed through a way for public relations so that we can, not a PR job, but let people in our communities know who is now representing us. So what I will do is I will do my paragraph, send it out to all of you. And then if we can in the next week or so, come up with paragraphs, and that's so we could post it on the school committee site. Nancy.
It might be easier for some of us if we could have specific questions to answer. Some of us are good ramblers. I don't know if that's.
I'm a good editor.
To a framework.
Yes, exactly.
I thought if.
And send it to everybody, not just me.
If I did a paragraph, which would just give a little bit, but maybe that's what I'll do is put 3 or 4 different questions. I like that idea, and I'll just send it out to everyone. But the idea is brevity, and the idea of that people in our communities would get a better sense of who we are, and that will be responsive to it. So that's the end of my report. Which means I now turn it over to the superintendent, who's going to cheer us up.
Mr. Stewart, a question for you?
Oh,
I just have a suggestion. on the, I think it's a very good idea to have school committee members present their CVs in very abbreviated form. Not only to the public, but for us, I don't know,
We haven't been
1, 2,
introduced
3,
yet.
4.
No, absolutely.
I don't know 5 of the other
That's
members
why
of
we're
this committee.
circulating.
But I think that it might be more effective in getting out to the public for us to give
No, we are.
a 3-minute or 2-minute presentation at the next school committee meeting, so that people who watch the meeting
Love it.
on CTSB can see it, can connect the
Love it.
face with who they are,
Okay.
rather than having to rely on reading the.
I am already,
The
items
website.
for the next agenda, that's there. Nancy,
Maybe it could be the chairman's report.
the chairman's report
Part
will
of the chair.
be each of us going around and doing that.
Yeah, just keep it short.
Sounds like a plan. I just don't want to take the time tonight because we were already at weeks.
We haven't gotten to the school improvement plan, so I'm gonna be short.
Oh, God.
Um,
Thank you for your suggestions.
are we good?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm just going to be very, well, as quick as I can with the list here. I just want to say welcome to everybody, all the new members and those that I don't know, and those who are back, and looking forward to getting to know all of you and, you know, forming a new team, because we have lots of really important work in front of us. I do like to give a little update about how much time I spend on the Regional School District Planning Board work, because I think it's important for you to know what I'm doing with my time. And since the last school committee meeting, just in meeting time alone, it's been close to 8 or 9 hours between an ed visioning session, a finance subcommittee meeting, a community outreach and advocacy meeting, full board meeting, which was last night, which I'm not gonna lie, I only made it through half of that. And as we had some student-led discussions that were here at the school. That also provides us with another opportunity. One of the things that the Regional School District Planning Board, I think out of the community outreach and advocacy group, there's a lot of these, came this visioning portion, and we've kind of narrowed the visioning work down to at the high school level and the CBTE portion. We've kind of tabled everything else because people are spread too thin and here comes the holidays, etc. With that, we had one round where we had students, Mr. Carpenter and myself, and faculty and staff members who had an opportunity to speak with these 2 visioning consultants. From that information, they said, oh my, we must come back. And so on November 30th, there is going to be a time here at Mount Everett from 8:45 to 10 a.m., which is going to be the community drop-in. And I think it would be really great for people who have opinions, who want to talk about the process, who they really want to hear what you think about it so far, what you want to know, what you like, what you don't like, where you're at. And they're supposed to be synthesizing all of this and sharing it. So this is their second time, but this time they're asking for members of the community. So if you know somebody, you want to, if you could kind of connect with me, have them send it to me, just so I have an idea of who's coming in and how many, so I can put them in the space. But that's a pretty good chunk of time, and I think it's 8:45 a.m. to 10 a.m. on November 30th.
And you'll determine whether it's the tech pack or anything else.
Mr. Carter?
We're gonna try to push that up.
What?
Just 15 minutes. Because they have time for staff and students.
Uh-huh.
And I will be making, like, in the schedule, so that I don't have kids missing multiple classes or teachers.
So what, 8:30 is what you're saying?
So, what time is it in?
It says 10 o'clock.
Yeah, so if we get in that at 9:45, so when they get here.
So it's gonna be 8:30 to
Thank you.
9:45, but I'll send it out again, but I just want to get that on your radars now, so that you can start. Is that enough?
That's all I need.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm trying to limit the time out of class.
yeah.
Thank you.
So the objective is to try to get any community members that we know who want to they're not gonna be talked at. This is.
No, this is the thing. This is an opportunity to speak.
Okay,
It's all your voice. They are literally, people are just saying everything they think and it's brain dump. So I think it's a really kind of a unique opportunity so far in this process. So I'll keep sharing this. But I figured tonight was a good night to get that out.
so we should definitely use our Instagram and Facebook and whatever
Yes,
to try to get people to know that.
yes.
But you want it filtered through your office.
Just so I have an idea of what space to put, how many
So
people.
in
I
other
have.
words, if we're posting it, we should post it to RSVP to Lynette.
Yeah, or
Okay, great.
myself, sure. Either
All
way.
right.
So one of the things that we are doing as a group, I know you guys don't, not everybody knows, the Berkshire Hills and Southern Berkshire are doing a virtual learning excursion with Mission Vista in California. It was a grant project. We had just had our third, this is since last school committee meeting, we've had our third and fourth meetings. Where we are, the last two sessions were on school and community engagement, all levels, students, faculty, staff, families, community partners. I'm all for learning new and inventive ways of doing those things. Yesterday was personalized learning. So there were some really interesting topics, and we're moving along. So our group is most of the, we have the secondary administration, myself, Lindy participates, we have a teacher, Kim Simpson Gomes, we have a student, Anoka Bazillion, who is part of the team right now. And we plan on expanding that out as we move through the process. But that is something that we're spending our time on as well.
The teacher is also the SBREA leader.
Yes.
Okay, just because people, that's our major union in the district. And the teacher who's on.
That wasn't necessarily why she was chosen.
No. I mean, I just want to say that the fact that she's on this, she has an ability to make outreach quite readily.
Yes. We just returned, some of us, Nancy and Bonnie and I, and Carl, who I saw from afar, just attended the MASC conference the first week of November, which was a wonderful opportunity to learn alongside our colleagues, both on the school committee and other superintendents. I attended sessions on legal issues, equity, supporting students and educators in their work, social emotional supports, and communication strategies. I also attended the Mars meeting, which I am a member of the board. I've been tapped to do some deeper work forming a Mars Connect professional development community for regional school district leaders. And they are reinvigorating the Rural Schools Coalition, which has quite a bit of money that we're trying to get at so that we can support our rural districts. I had the second meeting of the rural education cohort from the National Superintendents Association meeting. This had another wonderful amount of research and information on all sorts of topics, the science of learning and development alliance. There was some Bill Daggett work that's been kind of updated and reimagined. There's a group, there was some research called Education Reimagined. There were two more Hanover white papers on establishing community partnerships to support rural school economics and labor market analysis. And what I love about this group is it's not just the same old. What they were talking about is how do we prepare kids for careers that don't even exist yet. So that to me is like really forward thinking and the kind of stuff that we should be spending our time on, in my opinion. Safety, we are working through our evacuation drills this time of year. So it has happened on one campus and it is coming up on the other two. We also had our fire inspection and we did pass with pretty good colors, which I'm pretty proud of. So for our first one. I always like to highlight, we've been working very hard as an administrative team and as a school community to create a culture of support and appreciation. So I just wanted to shout out, I have adopted Miss Rossi's pre-K classroom as my read aloud classroom for this year. And I loved every minute. They had so much to share, and they made me a fabulous thank you note. It's on my door if you go by. Also, I'm sharing from the other pre-K classroom. I came into a card personalized by everyone in the classroom, which I also have proudly displayed. The pre-K classes went ahead. I told them I had a special friend who was a school community member that hadn't been feeling well. So they went ahead and made him a picture book and made him special pictures and a whole booklet that I sent with a little note from the whole pre-K. So it's just such a lovely experience, how everybody just jumps in and pitches in to uplift people's spirits. We also have a Student of the Month award going on. We have instituted a faculty peer award. So each month the faculty is recognizing another member of the faculty and staff. It can be anybody in the building, and it's a prize. It shows up in the morning, and they send it district wide as to why they think that person needs some extra appreciation or has done something wonderful. So I just love all of that spirit and collegiality that is happening. And today was our faculty and staff appreciation from the administrative team. I was at the doctor's office, so I'm not taking credit, but everybody else walked around and let the teachers come out and get breakfast or a treat while they watch the classroom. So we try to do this a lot, and I think it does make a difference in the kind of culture that we create in this district. So that's all.
Any questions? I just wanted to add, since I have forgotten to speak, the 7 of you who were not at the conference received conference bags today, and the program for this conference is in there. And I really want, that people will consider if attending for next year. The district covers the expense. You learn so much, and MASC is so generous in terms of wanting to help us. And as a matter of fact, when we get to goals and everything, one of the suggestions came up that Dorothy Presser, who's one of their lead people at MASC, volunteered to come out here and do a workshop with us in goal setting, because it has, we did get a guide for school committee members, but we should look at, especially with all the change in our school committee, at goal setting and what we want as a group. And Nancy, you wanted to say something?
I do. I want to say that having come into the school committee in April, going to the Stanford
Massachusetts Association of School Committees, and we meet with Massachusetts Association of Superintendents.
Yes, that's good. But I will tell you that for me, going to it, aside from the fact that I learned a tremendous amount, it was also great to talk to colleagues from different parts of the state and see what different needs were within the state. Worcester's needs are very different from Sheffield's needs, but also to see where the similarities are. And also to speak as a rural school district member, so that our voices got heard. Because a lot of times what you'll find is that a lot of times that West ends in Springfield or Worcester. I did hear that, but yeah, it was great. And I met some really interesting people. I came out understanding the job of the school committee much better. There were lots of these little cards. That was my doing, sorry. rural supporter, but it was great. There was, yeah, it's really worth the couple of days, for sure.
Thank you so much. And I got to know Nancy, you know, much when we were able to talk. It's, you never have those opportunities. So, yeah, consider it on your, it always takes place the same time of the year.
November
first week
1st, next
of
year.
November. Okay. All right, we now move to Julie. Dolan.
Hi, I am the Director of Curriculum Instruction and Professional Development. Welcome to all of the new members. I think that in the interest of time and the fact that probably a lot of what I would have to say you would have questions about, or I hope you would, I'm going to recommend that you read my report and think about questions, and then we talk about it more at the next school committee meeting. I've only been in this role for the past year and a half, but we have done a lot of work around curriculum and instruction. And those of you who have children may be aware that we have a new math program that we implemented last fall, R.S.D, and we have already seen huge growth in our students' scores with the use of that program. We have implemented a new ELA program in grades 6 through 8 called Into Literature that we just started this fall. We are researching ELA programs for pre-K, or not pre-K, K to 5 for implementation in the fall. And then there you will read, there's also all manner of other things that we're doing for social emotional learning. And I'm happy to sit down with anybody who wants to dig in deep on things, but I want to respect your time. We are moving closer to 8. So
Where do we get that report?
it's in the packet. Everybody's reports are in your packet. So usually you'll have these reports before the meeting so that you can actually think about your questions in advance. But it's on page 11 in your packet. And it outlines in general what we've been working on.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you for the
It's
consideration of
also,
time. Nancy.
it's also in the, a lot of information, it's in the outreach newsletter that you guys got, the fall newsletter.
So I think, Madam Chairman, I just share something. So you have your school committee packet that looks like this, but we tried to give you a lot of what we thought was the most relevant information that you needed in your blue folder on the left-hand side. So on that left-hand side has everything from how you connect with your other school committee members, the strategy for continuous improvement, my initial round of goals, that's the information that's on the left side, whatever you needed right away, kind of a listing of the subcommittees you want to be thinking about, etc. So that's just for you to take now, under direct orders from my assistant, Sue says, give me the blue folders back, but none of this information in the blue folder. So, because every week we read, every time we come to a school committee meeting, that's what we use to give you the information for the week. But in this packet, we try to number it so that it matches the numbers along the side, if that helps anybody.
I don't know if it's worth pointing out now, but my phone, the area code of my phone number is wrong.
Oh, really? Well, that'll be hard to call you.
401, if anybody wants to call.
Was that a strategy or is that
No,
So the area code is
401?
401.
I did notice that. Okay. So we'll fix that.
Thank you. Moving on, let's turn to Sandy.
Hi, good evening. I'm Sandy Hubbard, Director of Student Services. Welcome to all the new members. It's good to see our returning members. I just want to clarify that Director of Student Services is covers special education, health services, early childhood education, and English language education. So in my report, there's just a couple of things that I want to highlight. I'm on page 12 in the packet. It's the staple. Yes, package notes. There you go. I'm on page 12, so I won't read this to you, but I think it's important to highlight that I work closely with the state and our health services department and our local Department of Health and various other folks to make sure that we take advantage of the things that are offered to us regarding the mitigation of COVID. So this time of year, they are concerned about a surge in COVID cases. So we have been provided with tests to send home with every staff member and every student prior to the Thanksgiving break, and again, prior to the winter break. So we will be picking up, actually, our buildings grounds folks will be picking up tests tomorrow in Pittsfield, and we will be handing those out Monday or Tuesday. There are the at-home tests, and there are 2 tests in each, and the goal is to have every student and staff member test within 24 hours prior to returning on November 28th, and then again before returning on January 3rd. So I just wanted to share that with you. Those are going to be going home next week. The principals are going to be sending out emails to all the staff and families tomorrow, so just so you're aware of that. We work really closely. I'm also in charge of our mental health team. We have 3 school adjustment counselors, 2 school psychologists, a consulting and 2 consulting school psychologists. And we work closely with pediatricians and other agencies to make sure that we're readily addressing the mental health needs of our students. And something that I just want to mention to all of you, especially those of you who are new, I've talked about this many times over the past year, but we have a warm line, what we call a warm line, which is a phone number that you can call Monday through Thursday between 6 and 8 that is manned by a mental health professional. In our case, it's our school psychologists and our school adjustment counselors. So between that time frame, there is counseling services accessible to our community members and our students. So I just think it's incredibly important for you to know, especially given the fact that it's so difficult to find mental health counselors right now and to get to one, but that's available to all of our community members right now. I'm glad you asked that. I asked that the flyer actually be put in the packet, but I see it's not here. So given that I can't rattle it off the top of my head, I'll make sure that you all get a copy of it. I did include it with my report, but I guess it didn't make it to the packet. So I will make sure that you all get that. There are flyers for like your brought that to you.
I think it's pretty front and center on the webpage.
It is, it is, it's on the webpage. There's signs around. It's called the Warm Line. So please take advantage of that. And those are the main things I wanted to say tonight. I know we've got our colleagues are back up waiting to present their school improvement plan. So I want to go to that.
I just wanted to be able to support Warm Line. It's Sandy wrote grants for this. She went through months and months dealing with getting the wiring to be able to set it up. This is, we know how much the pandemic has really hurt our children and our adults. This is completely anonymous. You're getting a professional. You can call as many times as you want. So whatever way you can spread in your communities, we've done it in the Sheffield Times, and I have a commitment from Andrea Scott. We could do it again and again in the Sheffield Times. People don't realize how much in our communities this is a real issue. So let's encourage it. Sarah?
Oh, no.
Oh,
Sorry
you
about
just,
that. Yeah, that-
okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
And let's turn now, do we still have Lindy?
We do.
Yes.
So we're gonna put her, I think we'll just have people come here.
Mhm.
Hi, new people. I'm Lindy Marcel. My first day as early college and internship coordinator was August 29th. So I'm 2.5 months in. I'm going to do just a recap for the benefit of new members about the early college program. So Southern Berkshire Regional School District is in its first year of implementation. Recently awarded by the state, Mount Everett is now a wall-to-wall early college school. And our partner is Bard College at Simon's Rock. They're the ones who are granting college credits to our students. And that means that college credit classes take place during the school day, and they count towards high school graduation and college credit at the same time. There are no admissions requirements. That's really important. Even past academics aren't really taken into account. So 100% of our students are pre-enrolled in this program. And all components of the early college programming is provided free of cost to students and families. So it's our goal to get every Mount Everett student graduating with at least 16 college credits before they leave, but hopefully more. So this is college content, college course structure, and college pacing, but with lots of additional academic supports in place to make it, developmentally appropriate for the younger students as well. This is grant funded. I know there's lots of information I can present to you if you want to email me or stop by my office anytime about the grants. We're also getting support from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. We're partnered with Jobs for Future. I'm talking to the Mass Alliance for Early College. We get support from NS4Ed, and we work with the Simon's Rock leadership team. And Simon's Rock is a really amazing partner to have in this because they sort of, I would say they pioneered the idea of early college nationally. So they're a really cool neighbor to have and partner to have in this program. We have right now, the majority of our seniors will be taking college courses this year, if not all. And they're doing great. There's approximately 5 weeks of the semester left. I just sent an email to the students tonight reminding them of what supports are available to them. The first year implementation was, I don't think it could have gone better considering we threw these kids after COVID into college courses kind of unexpectedly. They're doing fantastic. So we have the spring college credit course offerings are going to be announced to students right before the Thanksgiving break. And I'm pretty sure there's a literature seminar, a logic math course, which is great for future lawyers and computer scientists, forensic science with a lab component, a graphic novel course taught by an early college instructor who's also a Mount Everett faculty who got certified to be an early college instructor, and hopefully a theater offering that's taking place on the Simon's Rock campus. I just have to figure out transportation for the students who are interested in that. I'm also facilitating with the help of this early college leadership team, student committee group formation, so that the students really take ownership of this program and they give us lots of feedback on what they need to be successful. I know I'm kind of going on and on when this meeting is already getting long. So I'm going to save the rest of this report. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I think this is incredible that Mount Everett is providing this opportunity to the students of our community. Thank you very much.
Is there a
And-
possibility
Oh, yeah,
for
And
question.
a Mount Everett graduate.
I'm also a Mount Everett alum, right?
Yeah.
A question?
No, this is optional. It's not something that the students have to do, correct?
Well, so to some degree, yes, and to some degree, no.
Because
Mount,
there's obviously kids that will not be attending college and have no.
right, so there's so many benefits to students who will not be going on to college. So these courses we're finding in a lot of cases, the college seminar courses are based on students' original ideas in a seminar style class where classroom discussion is encouraged. And in a lot of cases, students are really surprising themselves. There's students who said they didn't have an interest in participating in college. They said they had no plan to go to college, and yet they're thriving in these environments. They're learning how to articulate themselves, organize their thoughts, express themselves in really important ways that I think they're learning and they're growing. We also have a lot of courses, like technical courses that are technically college credit or professional certification. And those you could consider more vocational. So you could, such as computer science, technical training. Chris Thompson could tell us more about that, but a certification in cybersecurity from Cisco Academy, for example.
So basically still more, like, not exactly a vocational class, more of a.
Well, based on how connected most things are, I would say, the internet is pretty much everywhere now. So I don't expect many students to go out into the world and not have to interface with some degree of technology. So
Just to add to what Rudy said, for example, because of our association, we were able to offer to our students timber framing as a course during the summer from Simon's Rock. So it's a wide variety. Also, the courses that are more in the area of, let's say, liberal arts, like the English, it doesn't matter whether it's what diploma you are getting, you're getting the kind of discipline that it's not like when I went to school and it was advanced placement. The theories now all show that career preparation is what things are about, and that what we should be doing, and that's where I think we look at Simon's Rock as being really ahead of the game there. We're talking about, doesn't matter if you're not planning on going to college. You're learning how to communicate, you're learning how to advocate for yourself, you're learning written communication, you're using computer. That my local person who does my car says he can't get anybody who can open up a hood and knows a metric system, can carry out what it says in a manual. So hopefully the discipline that they will be getting through these courses transcends what we used to think of as college prep. And I don't know if that interests us at all. Nancy and
Lindy,
then
could you,
Carl.
student spotlight next week, could you have some, or Lindy and Jesse, could you guys get some, get a couple students, one who's like college bound and one who's like, or if not next one, maybe just.
Yeah, we'll put that on the agenda. Good
Would that be
idea.
helpful?
Carl?
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
want to
I-
make sure that we're catering to all students.
Yeah, yeah, sure, no, I think everyone.
I like Kim's question, and I want to follow up on it. Her first question was, is it a requirement? And you said in some ways no, and in some ways yes. In what ways yes? Is it a requirement?
So we are designated a wall-to-wall district, which means 100% of our students are pre-enrolled in this early college program. There are lots of supports that are optional. Students could take advantage or not take advantage. And there's lots of additional college courses that students can elect to take or not take. But there are certain classes that will be taken at a college level. But there are accommodations and plans in place for students who don't necessarily earn the college credit so that they can still earn their high school credit and graduate and meet those high school graduation requirements.
You might want to add to it what's happening in the early grades.
There's also, I mean, there's so much information that goes with this. I don't want to keep you here all night.
But when you say we are a wall-to-wall school district, but I still think that doesn't answer Kim's question about if a senior, let's say, says to you, I want to have nothing to do with it.
They can get out. I can answer that question.
Okay.
So the way our program works is we have a ton of elective classes that the kids can jump into. We also have some classes that kids are put into, like right now, most of the seniors are taking a college level English class. If a parent or student was that adamant, that they did not want college class, they would stay in the class, not get college credit. And on their high school transcript, it would say English 4, like we've done for the last 50 years.
Okay.
Our goal is that kids will stay in a college class and give it a chance, whether they go to college or not.
Right.
Because ultimately, in wall-to-wall, if a kid were to graduate with 30 credits and decide college is not for me, and then 2 years later decided, I want to go to BCC and take a couple classes, they could take 2 classes and be 36 credits into, which is essentially an associate's degree.
I hope that my question wasn't interpreted as a criticism of the program. I just wanted.
No.
But maybe
No,
clearly.
I just
And
jumped in.
I don't want to follow that up with a statistic. Are you aware of the percentage of Mount Everett students who enroll in a 4-year college and never get a degree? Yes.
I bet it's always changing because I have peers.
No, this is
Right.
historically over the
Oh.
last 10 years.
But I mean, I have peers
The
who are
percentage of
completing
Mount
their
Everett
graduation.
students who enter a 4-year college and never get a degree, 52%.
I would just tell you that nationally, the numbers are atrocious.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just here.
That's way higher than I thought.
That's much better than the national numbers.
The national numbers are like 27%.
So that's not bad. It's 52%.
Yes.
That's double the 27%.
No.
The last
Sorry.
one I read was 26% national.
26% don't get the degree.
No,
Yeah.
do get a degree after 6 years.
Surprising, but still not good. I mean,
But the
50
philosophy, I just
That's
will add, and
national, that's
this-
not the district, that's national.
for the sake of time, the whole philosophy here is based upon the idea of the best way to go to college is to go to college. And that's, and we're trying to also address all the sentiment that exists in our communities with families who are saying no. So the exposure is how do you finance it? Is it, what are the options out there in the world? We don't like the fact that our 52%, yeah, we could say, great, we're more than double the national average. But, we want our kids to succeed. So, yeah. And I like the idea, we'll definitely have a focus on it only because it's just about 8 o'clock.
So I'll say two things. One is that we have not had students elect to leave these sports, even when they were electives. So our enrollment numbers stayed consistent. And second, there's a whole work-based learning internship initiative that I'm also in charge of, but I just left that off of my report tonight, that I think if you're concerned about students getting prepared for life after Mount Everett that doesn't involve traditional accredited academia, I have my mind and attention on that as well. But tonight's report's just early college, so I'm sticking to that. Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
With that, we are finally, after all the patience back here, that we need to kill, on to, go to it.
So we're talking about, I'm Paul Sullivan, assistant principal of the elementary school. So
And we have to approve or disapprove this. That will be a motion.
Me being the assistant principal?
Oh, that case,
Oh.
I don't know. but,
Okay.
I do know that.
Okay, so we're here to talk about the school improvement plan.
We had a request for a bathroom break. It's 8 o'clock and do you think we could take?
That's up to you. You're in charge.
We're gonna be like a
minute, 30 seconds tops.
I don't think we want to risk an accident. So I'm going to say.
Yes, I
suggest
don't
we allow
approve.
it.
You don't approve?
I don't approve of accidents.
Yeah. I suggest that's up to the chair of the committee.
I don't want anybody being uncomfortable. It's exactly 8 o'clock. Be back here in 5 minutes.
Good luck with that.
Okay, so goal one for the elementary school improvement plan is again around mathematics. And we've already talked about the new curriculum, R.S.D. And the focus this year is to be continued professional development, both from R.S.D. and from outside organization that Julie Dolan has retained. And just a brief, what is it? The focus is to, I'm just going to give you two things: facilitate meaningful mathematical discourse and support productive struggle in learning mathematics. And this R.S.D. is the highest rated, one of the highest rated. It's at the highest rating, and there's others that also are by Ed Reports. And it aligns exactly with the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics and for what DESE is looking for in a mathematics classroom.
And you want to add your background, why you're suited so well to observe and get feedback in this thing?
I've been a math teacher for the last 17 years.
Oh, my condolences.
No, that's for the kids.
And so I'm going to provide a little bit of context because we have some new faces. And so every year.
Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, Charles Miller, elementary principal for Southern Berkshire.
and occasionally wears Waldo. No, I think it's important, and you'll have an opportunity, like Julie mentioned earlier, and please do read through the report. And I know Bonnie will find tooth comb, and then she'll give me the, grammatical errors because of semantic drift. But in all seriousness, this document is one of the many ways we try to focus our efforts in terms of school improvement. And along with our school councils, Jesse and I meet a couple times a year. And one of our important tasks, both legally and culturally, is to focus those improvement efforts. And over the last couple of years, last year, our improvement effort was really about adopting the accelerated roadmap and identifying those areas of learning loss and how we were going to catch students up in real time without demeaning the quality of our grade level standards and curriculum, what we were teaching students in each grade level. For me, obviously pre-K through 5. And last year's focus, there's a little bit of that still in this year because we knew it would take multiple years to catch some of the students up. I'm going to talk a little bit about our second goal, which is about literacy outcomes. And first, I'm going to share kind of a somber note, but something I think that is no secret. And the research has shown, and the National Center for Educational Statistics will back me up here, that there was exceptional learning loss in terms of English language arts in elementary grades, in particular in grades 3 through grade 6. So that's 2 of the elementary grades. And so at the end of last year and over the summer, as I'm kind of culminating all these different ideas and thinking about, okay, what's really important, what can we focus on? Teachers, interventionists, and reading specialists came to me and in conversations both by email and in person informally said that we're seeing a crazy range of learners in each class. So one thing that after the pandemic we've noticed is that there are some kids who are reading at grade level, or some kids who are reading beyond grade level, let's say within a 3rd grade class. And then there's some kids who are 2 or 3 years in the same class. And so what we recognized is that differentiation that all teachers are responsible for trying to do their best was in some instances impossible to be able to reach all those different learners. And so we, in our master schedule, and I'm looking at Paul because he broke his back over the summer to create this, and then we went back to the mat when it didn't work because he made it for one building, we had to make it work for all 3 buildings, was that how can we add additional intervention time in reading for each kid? And so what we did was there's an additional 30 minutes, 3 days a week at minimum in every single grade level where kids are getting specific targeted intervention. And an intervention, for those who are not in the educational jargon world, is basically just a targeted approach to helping a kid catch up on a particular skill, or like it might be letter identification for kindergartner, or for a 4th grader, it might be some kind of reading comprehension or inferential thinking in terms of text. And so they're going to get that targeted on top of that regular English language arts teaching. They're going to get that specific targeted support that they need. And teachers also don't have to kind of take it all on themselves, because during that intervention block, we ensure that the 2 interventionists in this building, the 1 interventionist in New Marlboro Central, the ESPs, we have a volunteer reading specialist who's coming in and helping as many adults as I can get in that building to get those groups really small and specialized so that those kids are getting exactly what they need in that time on top of what they're getting in the school day. So I think that's the most important thing to walk through really quickly. If you look at the bottom of the strategic action steps, you have this in your packet, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I'm looking at goal 2, and under that last blue line, these were the most important actions we took in order to ensure that literacy outcomes improved. The one I just talked about in detail was number 4, create a master schedule that includes that 30 minutes of ELA. And then I'll just add, I'll end with, I think that it's a 2-pronged approach. I think we want to teach reading, but we also want to teach readers. It's really important not to lose the love of literature with all this testing and all this teaching to standardized assessments, both the state test and our internal assessments, but also to have these opportunities like our guest reading initiative, our literacy days, to celebrate books, and to make that something that's inclusive of all kids. not just the kid who's incredible at sitting down and reading Moby Dick, front to back in one sitting, but also that kid who's maybe a reluctant reader, but really likes comic books, or really loves stories and narratives, but is more of an auditory processor than a visual one. So that's what I'll say about that.
Questions for Mr. Miller?
All right. I purposely didn't give wait time. Because it's 8 o'clock. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right. Gives me 2.5 minutes. All right, I'm Jesse Coulter. I'm the principal. We gave you our non-urban school improvement plan, which lists 3 things. I was going to talk about some of the work that we're doing with UDL, well, because of the previous conversation about early college, I'm going to talk about that one instead, just to make sure that everybody understands kind of where we're going. As Libby mentioned, this is the first year of the implementation of wall-to-wall early college. We've been working on this for like 4 years. In the first part of this, it was mostly electives that we bring in professors from Simon's Rock and just ask the kids, hey, you interested in this? You interested in this? We have this opportunity. And some kids jumped in. We've had some classes that have had 10 or 12 kids. We've had some kids that have had 5 kids. This year, with the designation from the state, we've decided to go a little bit more into kind of what the plan will look like in a couple of years. So one of the steps we took was to make most of our senior English students take the early college classes. And so we got I don't know, I guess about 19 of them that are in 2 sections of writing in the humanities right now. And then we have the group of students that would have been in sort of the honors English class. There's about 18 of them are going to take a spring offering in that. We also use Kevin Wolgemuth, who's been an English teacher here for about 19 years. He was the first to get certified as an early college teacher. He offered his Murder Most Foul class right now, which kids are having a great time in. And then with some talk from John Weinstein, the provost at Bard College at Simon's Rock, and me, we convinced Kevin to take on his graphic novel class as a college class next semester, which Kevin was happy to do. So, for kids that decide to jump into 3 of those English classes, that's 9 credits of English this year, which is pretty cool. I think the coolest part of this is sort of the long-term plan, which is to get kids ready much earlier and to give them the confidence that it's not a big deal to be in these classes. So we started that in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. We had college professors come in and teach a sample college class to 8th grade and then to 9th grade into 10th grade. Some of the feedback we got was really, really interesting. John, who I just mentioned before, did the 10th grade class, and he said when he went into some of the classes, in the college prep class, he got different thinking than he did in the honors class, thinking more outside the box, which he found interesting. He said that's what excites him so much about early college is that, like, the way they view it, it's not just these classes are for kids who know by the time they're in 1st or 2nd grade, I'm going to college. And we all know, right? Like, you have families that tell their kids when they're little, this is your path, you're going here. And what excites him is the idea of like everybody taking the classes, regardless of what they decide to do after high school. And so we're starting to do that process in some of our middle school classes. Julie Sternagel, our assistant principal, is going to talk a little bit about some of the things we've done in middle school, changing the schedule to help some of the places we want to go. But just the idea of starting to have discussions in middle school English classes that are more like Socratic discussions of kids coming up with the questions and running the discussion. Those are things that we're trying to incorporate now, which is going to just help the process of what early college may look like. This spring, we're going to have some cool field trips, taking some of the classes in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade to Simon's Rock to experience classes on their campus. And that's really the next phase of this, which we'd like to do, is get kids comfortable with the idea of going there to take classes. We'll try that in the spring with the theater class. The thing that's nice about those classes is they're going to run like 4 or 4:30 at night, which will allow the kids who maybe don't want to leave school here during the school day to go to Simon's Rock. They can have a chance to do it outside the school day. But really what we'd like to do is eventually get to the point of kids who will feel comfortable leaving here after lunch, going up there and taking a class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, similar to the experience of college. In speaking, I spent a lot of time with the college professors who have come down here. Speaking to them, I think the coolest thing for them is just the idea of giving kids a look at what a college class looks like, working with a syllabus, and really starting to think about those ideas of what it means to have a real student-centered classroom where most of the discussion is being facilitated amongst the students. And, you know, as with anything, we've just started this. Those English classes started slow with that, but to watch them now as we're getting, you know, to the end of November, and the professors throwing out ideas and kids are batting ideas back and forth, for me, it's been a really cool thing. The last part of this, and I won't take any more time because we've been here a while, the MyCap plan, the state looks at MyCap plans, which are really plans towards, you know, future plans for kids. What's the pathway look like? We've started to put together some plans that kind of mirror what we're trying to do around early college, internships, pathways to whatever profession kids think they will do. And so we start those, there's components of that that are social emotional, there's components of that that are directly college and career readiness. We have a pretty robust plan for 8th grade that we're kicking off the week after Thanksgiving, pretty robust plan in 10th grade. And then we're going to sprinkle some things in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, 6th, 7th, and 9th grade, in the hopes of eventually getting those robust plans in each grade level that will carry kids from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade. And those plans include everything from like when they're younger doing interest inventory is like, here's my passions, how can they connect to a profession? There's one cool lesson where, you know, in like 8th grade, kids talk about, you know, kind of what they're interested in these different inventories. One's the Hobart inventory. And then it leads to teachers talking about 6 or 7 professions that deal directly with their subject area. So the math teacher would talk about, here's 6 or 7 jobs of, you know, people who are really interested in math. And really trying to immerse the kids in, here's the endless possibilities for your future as early as 6th grade. So I'll let Julie jump in and I'll take some questions.
Left you all 30 seconds. Go.
That's fine.
Well done.
I'm teasing. Hi, everybody. I'm Julie Sternagel. I'm the newly appointed assistant principal for the secondary. So I'm as new as some of you are here tonight. So yeah, I'm going to talk about goal number 2 on our improvement plan. Jesse touched on it a little bit in terms of there is a new middle school schedule that we've rolled out this fall that increases the time on learning in English language arts and math. And also we have some common planning time across the disciplines for teachers to look at student work and take that time to really kind of dig in and see what's working and what's not. It's complemented by all the PD that we have right now in terms of the Inclusive Academy and the UDL design. Another piece of my job that just kind of dovetails into this is being responsible for the multi-tiered system of support, you know, which Jesse mandates for us as a school district to have in place for students that they may be struggling. You know, we have to have a system of support for them. So I'm in charge of that. We've kind of revamped the tiers of support for students. So it kind of falls in line with this. We want to make sure that teachers have enough tools in their toolkit to reach all learners. And if they don't, there's a group of us that get together, excuse me, and troubleshoot situations for students and teachers, whether they're academic or behavioral. We do that on an ongoing basis. Do you have any questions?
Questions? A lot for us to swallow all at once.
Yeah.
Also, the mother of 2 of our soccer finest you met earlier, the Sternagel dynamic duo.
Well, they've had the opportunity here in our lovely small school to play since they're in kindergarten. So they're together and with their whole team. So I think that's really what, you know, does it for our girls. Yes, Kim.
How do you think the students are reacting to the 80-minute periods for both ELA and math?
Again, so this would be grades 6, 7, and 8. And I know for a fact when I go up there that I believe for the most part, the kids and the teachers have done a really good job adjusting to the amount of time.
I see a lot of like breaks going on. There's snack incorporated into each one of the grade levels because it is a long period of time. But again, our PD is complementing different ways, to facilitate learning in those longer chunks of time. And again, interventions that we can put in place for students, small group, flexible groups, different ways to learn, just, again, are complemented by the amount of time that they have, especially in grade 6, to get to everything.
Just to add to that, some really cool things in especially 6th and 7th grade now, in terms of groupings for like the last half-hour class, which have been really helpful for what we call just-in-time scaffolds, and also some interventions, like a cluster of kids might have a struggle with fractions. And so while some of the kids are moving on and whatever the lesson is, small groups of kids will work on fractions and sort of get the hang of it and then jump right back into the lesson. So we've seen some really good usage that way. And in English too, in terms of grouping it together around reading and writing. We've seen a lot of gains already in a short amount of time.
That's great. Sarah?
I just want to, that's exactly what I was going to say. My daughter is in 7th grade and she is not always thrilled with the length of the class time, but I'm seeing huge improvements in her, especially her math grades. So it's been a huge benefit, I think, for us anyway, having the extra time and the groups that they're doing. So I think it's been a positive change.
Do you think your, special ed years and everything have enhanced the work you're doing?
100%. Absolutely. I think, I think sometimes teachers are already doing a lot of the things that they don't realize, but just to, kind of work together and come up with different ways. And we bring in, different specialists and things when teachers have specific questions about specific kids. I absolutely think my background is helpful in that. That was one of the exciting pieces of me taking this job, was to have that opportunity to work that group.
Thank you for taking it on.
And that's been really helpful too, in the goal we're not going to talk about, but that surrounds our PD around UBL and things like that. Just with the idea of really making sure that every kid has access, and that every kid has the ability to pick up material and really run with it. It's really helped having Julie there with her background, supporting the teachers as we look for ways to, find entry points for kids and to really make sure that they have the supports necessary.
What is the goal we're not going to talk about? Like that,
Oh,
that's ominous sounding.
No, we only talk
It's
about
here.
2 of the 3 for length of time. So the 3rd page talks about some of the PD we're doing around the inclusive practices. We're part of this inclusive academy that Julie has gotten us set up with some great people. UDL practices, universal design learning. These practices that we're giving to teachers and doing a lot of PD in, that's just our 3rd goal. We, for sake of time, elementary did 2, we do 2, but we have 3 as part of our school improvement plan. So that's all I was referencing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
nothing hidden.
Yeah.
Well, it sure sounds ominous.
Sorry.
So can we get more information about that into the next meeting? Is that possible?
I can include in my report the next meeting about the inclusive academy and university sector.
Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the school improvement plans of Mount Everett and the elementary schools. Do I have a
So moved.
motion? That was Art. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
That was Jim. Okay, any further discussion? In that case, Art,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Carl, Nancy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
and Bonnie, yes, unanimous approval. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're going to spend the rest of the evening reorganizing the school. No, we're not. You will find in your packet a description of the various committees. What I would really like is if everyone, thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
If everybody would send me their first 3 choices of committee serving and You could add a fourth one, if you could do it in today's Thursday, like before Thanksgiving, because you'll forget it once you're in tryptophan land. So if by Wednesday, 3, possibly 4, if you have questions, feel free to email me, and I think you have, or call Beth.
Yeah.
Or call me, and I think you'll have enough information there. My job is to apportion individuals on committees. Everybody serves on basically a minimum of 2. Most of us wind up on 3. And that I am supposed to designate the chair as well of the committee. I sort of like it when we had it where, you know, the committee decided their chair, but I'll go with the rules if there are any questions. So that's the story. You'll see information in the guide about all of the committees, and you can see from the way Beth laid it out, the major committees and the work that we have to do. So that way I won't take any more time. Okay. Unfinished business. Nope.
Can't imagine there isn't.
Yeah, I know. Do any of these committees report, have any reports to make on the subcommittees? Anyone? Art, your committee? No? Jim?
I would like to continue, say that. the
Okay.
Superintendent's review
Okay,
committee.
and
has
I
already
picked up
been-
information for you at the conference.
Oh,
So I
good,
think would be
thanks.
helpful. I brought it tonight.
I'm sorry.
Dennis, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, therefore, we finished all the subcommittee reports. Yes. I shouldn't say that. Just the beginning. Future agenda items, we
So the
came up with a
subcommittee
few.
reports that just got covered were building grounds and technology, right? Jim, what are you?
Superintendent's review.
Superintendent, about executive evaluation.
Okay, thank you. And policy subcommittee.
Yes.
Well, this isn't, it can't be unfinished business because I don't know what the business was before today. So, but I have a question regarding the agenda, which says location. 491 Berkshire School Road, Sheffield, for school committee members via Zoom for the public. Is it accurate that the remote participation rule is still in effect?
Yes.
Okay, so that means that any school committee member can also participate by Zoom.
Correct.
Okay. So I
We're
think-
supposed to have a quorum
No,
here.
yes, that,
Right.
because that comes under the remote participation
Yeah, right.
rules.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if there's a quorum here and there is a member, I mean, I think it's fair, I think it's a good idea to let the new members know
That's a good
that
point.
if they can't appear personally, they can participate remotely, whether it's from their home or Nepal.
But
Is that where
it's
you're going?
great to see.
Close,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
I knew it.
It's great to see everyone here. I hope you'll be able to do it. Thank you for spreading us out.
I did what I could.
Yes. I had the wonderful pleasure at the MASC conference of getting bronchitis and pneumonia. So, yeah, I
Don't discourage people from going.
No, I won't discourage people from going, but I am past contagion. I've taken all my medication. I'm clean, but still pretty bad. Well, future agenda items, we made a list of a few of them.
Yeah.
If you have any others,
Carl has one.
please.
I have one. I have one.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's a request, and if you say no, I'll obviously abide. by it. But I just as a brief preface, I've been an elected member of various town committees for the 30 years that I've lived in the Berkshires, and in total of 4 different committees, including this one. And I am generally called upon, and in my committees and offered to be the quote expert on the open meeting law. I think we underestimate the importance of the open meeting law and how vigorously the Attorney General of the Commonwealth regards it. And we are all subject to not only censure, but actual monetary fines for violations of it. And I would like on the agenda to be, and I promise that I will limit it to 4 minutes. I'll try to make it 3, to just give a very brief overview of the main point where it is violated, and that is in chain communications. And it's very important, and I think if you read the Attorney General's open meeting law pamphlet, it doesn't make it clear enough. So I would just like a few minutes at our next meeting to make a very short 4-minute presentation, and then to offer my, again, quotes, expertise, if anybody wants to talk to me directly about open meeting law issues.
Thank you, Carl, because that, we have gotten in trouble with this before, and I really appreciate that. And I'd rather, we start with that before we have any work, bring other people in. It's a good baseline, so we don't get ourselves.
And I really intend to abide by, I intend to be really prolix. If anybody here criticizes me for that, you're way down the line, a number of people who have. But I will make it really short and just try to open the door to thinking about the issues that it involves and how serious the enforcers of the law in the Commonwealth take violations of open meeting law, because some of them are egregious. This committee, to the best of my knowledge, has never had an egregious violation of the open meeting law. Others have, and they've been fined. And that fine is not paid for by the school district. It's paid for by you individually, and it can be sizable. So
thank you, Nancy.
I just want to welcome you guys.
What?
I mean, really, I just
Thank
want
you.
to welcome all the new and returning members. Really, we generally have a pretty good time, as exhausting as it can be, and we start all our brains start doing this and then doing this at the same time. It's kind of, but it's a really good group, and welcome.
Thank you so much for saying that. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right.
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Carl, Nancy.
Yes.
Kim, Kyle, Jim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Bonnie, yes, unanimous.
I didn't hear any abstentions.
Are you abstaining going home?
Sorry, David.